Hello there, this is me, Carol's back, and I just wanted to show you how I prep my Dutch oven. It's the Tupperware Dutch oven, and how I do that for cooking my sourdough. So I make a carrier, like a brace of tin foil. It's a piece of tin foil folded 4 ways, and I just pop that in to the pan. And then I have a pizza stone, and I'm using a wax paper circle. Now, I'm sure they're available in America, but believe it or not, 4 years later, I brought so many with me. I still have mine from Lakeland Plastics in England. But I'm just going to pop that on one side, and I don't want to drop it as it is a stone. And I just let that fall down like that into there. And when I do the dough, I'm going to show you, that sits in there ready. And my dough is in my bowl here. I have that. It's actually been in the refrigerator now 48 hours. And it had 3 turns when I had it. I'm just going to pull this out of here. I'm going to have to, it's quite heavy actually to hold on one hand. And it comes out quite easily because the gluten has worked its magic in the flour. And it's a really white dough, which I like because I'm using white bread flour. I will be trying maybe some fillings and doing some other things. So I'll tell you about those and how I get on. But with this, I'm just going to shape it up. I can feel all the air in it, which is wonderful. I'm just going to shape it into a circle, just like that. Got a little bit of something on there. Just like that. And that's how I would lay that into the Dutch oven. I'll show you that in just a moment too. But I am going to snip off, but somebody's pinched my scissors. Well, that's not helpful, is it? Well, never mind. I'll use the meat snippers instead. They'll all work the same. I want to, off the bottom, I want to snip like six lumps of dough, and I'll equal those out in a minute. And I'm going to make a smaller loaf, and I want to see, I'm going to show you, I'm going to make 6 baps in the MicroPro grill. Now this will need to prove a little while, so I'll pop that on there. So I'll end up with 6 rolls. I'm just chopping this off the dough. 1, 2, 3, and just like that. So my loaf is going to be smaller, and I'm just going to reshape that so it's into a circle, like a football, or in this country, in America, we would call that a soccer ball. In England, we'd call it a football. So it's just like that. I am going to pop it into the Dutch oven. Remember, I've popped that circle of silicone on there. So it's in there, putting the lid on. And the idea is to bring the dough back to room temperature. So I'm going to leave it on top of the stove. The oven isn't on. After about 2 hours, because it's not overly hot in my house, but after about 2 hours, I will probably, I'll turn the oven on, so it'll give it a bit more warmth. And they do recommend that you turn the oven up to 500, and then just before you put the bread in the oven, you turn it down. But I'll talk about that a bit later. So my sourdough loaf is in my Dutch oven with the lid on, and that's going to stand on the top of my stove. And what I'm going to do now, as I said, I am going to just gently shape these pieces of bread that I have left. You're going to have to excuse me because I have not got my MicroPro grill with me. Sorry about that. MicroPro grill. Remember, we are going to do these in the MicroPro grill in the microwave. The first one is going to be 6 minutes. I'm going to leave that to prove in this there. Just put one in there in the middle. I'm going to leave it. We have the top there. I'm going to leave that on in the casserole position. As you can see, the bread is in there in the casserole position, and that's done. And then I am going to put these ones, and this one is quite small, so I'll pinch a little bit of dough from that one and give some of this flour. And these ones, I am going to just shape these up. Years and years ago, I worked in a bakery, and the one thing I learnt, apart from getting up at 3 in the morning, is probably not the best thing for me, was how to shape a bread roll in my hand. Now, in my youth, this was a lot of years ago, and I used to bike 5 miles to this bakery. No one would bike 5 miles at like 2:30 in the morning, would they? I was only young. And in my youth, I used to be able to do this with 2 hands, but now I find that, oh, that's my dog having a little woof. He might want to go out. I can't get 2 done at once, so I have to do, because it's an action with the thumb. You use your thumb in the circle, and you do that. So I can do it one hand at a time. I can even do my left hand and get that to shape up just like that. So there's one in the MicroPro grill. These, just gonna flatten them a little with my dusted hands. And as you can see, there they are. So I'm gonna leave it 2 hours, and then I will do MicroPro grill baking sourdough in there. Part 2. This will be part 1. So I will post these a bit later when they both come out together, and you will see them, I'm sure. And please put comments, please ask questions. That will be lovely. So take care, God bless, see you soon.